All right, so this is going to be a review of the Uncharted movie. It's the newest video game adaptation that just came out, and you could probably guess how it is based on it being a video game adaptation. But whatever. I don't know how people are feeling about it. Maybe I'm different from other people. I don't know. We'll get into that. It's directed by Ruben Flesher. You have Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, the main character from the games, and you have Victor Sullivan, played by Mark Wahlberg. We'll definitely talk about them. um, so, yeah, you see Nathan Drake as a kid, and he's a little boy. Him and his brother Sam. This was, I believe, in the fourth game, because I don't even think you don't see the brother until the fourth game. There's like a retcon. But you see them breaking into this place, right? They're really into history and historical artifacts and things like that. They look at a map and they start talking about Magellan and his trip across the world, that he never actually made it, and that he was actually commissioned to find some gold. So they have this dream to find that, but the brother is about to go to jail because they get caught for breaking in, and so he kind of runs off. So Nathan Drake, he's grown now. Some time has gone past, years, and he's working as a bartender. I guess he's just working as a bartender. They don't show that he's trying to work towards something or what his thing is. I guess he's just working as a bartender, I guess, and he's pickpocketing people. He stole this, I guess, rich girl's bracelet and stuff like that. He gets approached by Sully, who has ties with Sam. They've worked together in the past, and Sully convinces him to go on this voyage with him to find that gold that Magellan, went to find all those years ago. And so there's different things they have to do. They have to find these keys. There's certain puzzles, kind of like the games or like other movies like this, where they have to decipher certain things and things like that. And they go to different locations. And there's a villain played by Antonio Banderas. His character is Santiago Moncada, and he is a descendant of the family that originally commissioned to find the gold, and so that's why he feels like the gold is rightfully his. So positives: Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, they do have a little bit of chemistry, right? In another movie, I could see them actually working, right? Like their banter back and forth, they do kind of feel like friends by the end. And so if there's anything to get invested in, maybe you could get invested in their dynamic. So I'll give them that. And Mark Wahlberg, even though the writing is bad, it is, the material is bad. Mark Wahlberg is still kind of charming, right? Which he's the only one because Tom Holland is not good in this. He kind of struggles over his lines at certain times, and obviously him and Mark Wahlberg feel nothing like the original characters, right? Like the idea that Nathan Drake would have to be convinced to go on this journey for this thing that he's been dreaming about since he was a kid. Like, what are you talking about? He would probably be already out there doing it, right? This is his whole character. And he's supposed to be charismatic. He's supposed to have charm. He's supposed to be funny. I actually like the character. Everybody likes the character. But not here. He's completely bland. All he does is kind of whine about his brother, or whine that everybody's constantly double crossing each other. Like Nathan Drake would be so used to this shit, but like, because he would already be out there doing this stuff. Why the fuck is he a bartender, like pickpocketing people? And that's another thing. Pickpocketing is like magic, right? Like you can stand next to somebody and then pickpocket them from their backpack. And it's like, how do they do that? like it just constantly happens where somebody will just be standing next to each other. They walk away. Hey, that shit was so stupid. But anyway, yeah, like this is a bad adaptation. They throw in little parts, little things from the games, right? Like he falls out of the plane. I'm pretty sure that was in the third game. The gold is on like a boat and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that's how it ended in Uncharted 4. So there's some things there, and like I said, seeing the brothers when they were younger, they're breaking into this place. That is from Uncharted 4. I'm pretty sure at the beginning. So they do throw things in there from the games, and I guess maybe the puzzle that they did, the heaven and hell thing. Where was that in Barcelona? I can't remember, but that was kind of reminiscent of the games, just not very interesting like those puzzles in that game in those games. So there's that, but like for the most part, it feels like it was a script just sitting on a shelf somewhere and they just decided to make it Uncharted, because it doesn't feel like Uncharted pretty much at all. It feels like a generic adventure movie, or like going after the artifact movie, and they just said, oh, let's just name this. I mean, obviously Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg are only playing the characters because they're big names and that's it. We want to get asses in seats. and the people weren't even really enjoying it. Like every now and then there'd be a chuckle from somebody that's like way on the other side of the theater, but for the most part, nobody was really into this. Adaptation stuff aside, because people will be like, "Oh, well, how good is it by itself?" It's shot like garbage, right? It looks like a TV movie for most of it, and then there's a depth of field thing where everything in the background looks really blurry at certain parts. Not even sometimes in the background. Sometimes it'll just be on the end of the shot and it'll be blurry. Like it was hurting my eyes. Like there's a part with Antonio Banderas talking to his father, and it's so blurry in the background with the trees and the people and stuff they're talking like on a bench or something in like some place, and it's like really blurry. Like it was really making my eyes water. So that didn't work. Editing doesn't work. It does this in medias res thing for no reason, where it starts off with him falling from that plane, and then it works its way there, but there's no real point to it. I was wondering like why are we doing that? But I guess they just chose to. By the time it got to that, I had forgotten about it. It would have been cheesy, but at least be like, oh, that's how we got here. But it didn't do that. It was almost like they did it last minute. There's certain parts of this that doesn't feel like it really needs to be there. There's a part that was jarring. They start going on their little adventure, whatever. At first, they have to go to this auction house to get the first key. It's across, and they look across the street at the auction place, and it cuts to a montage of Tom Holland working out. Like I was like, what the fuck? Why? There's multiple parts of this movie where it feels like he has to take off his shirt too. It's almost like the Chris Hemsworth thing. You know, there's certain people, certain actors where it's like at some point you have to take that shirt off. Like, so that was kind of distracting. But I was like, why the fuck? Why would you put that there? Like, there's parts of this where it just doesn't feel like it even needs to be there at all. The movie, I think it's around 2 hours. It feels too long, and it's boring as shit because a lot of it is heavy, heavy, heavy exposition. Like earlier on, I was like, man, is every conversation gonna be an exposition dump? Especially between Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland. I was like, God damn. I mean, it was it was bad. It sucks that they started the movie with that plane thing because it's ridiculous anyway. It's way better in the original game. I think that was in the third game. It was way better there. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief because there's plenty of times where it's like he should go splat. He gets hit with a car as he's about to fly. Anyway, but the CG looks bad when he's falling out of the plane and all that. Looks bad. Let's just say the video games look better. We always compare bad CG to video games. It's kind of cliche, but whatever. The games actually look better. So whatever. I don't know how you could have a worse story and have your movie be less cinematic than the video game it's adapted from, but somehow they pulled it off. The movie is really tame, right? Like in the games, like you're shooting people, you're doing all this other shit, right? But in this, there's a character that gets their throat slit, and it's really just like a red line, like a really thin red line across their throat as they're laying down. I was like, wow, this is completely meaningless and weightless. I guess that's what we're doing. The choreography for the fight scenes is bad. There's a part where one of the female villains gets in a fight with some security guards, and it really is just her flailing around for a second. And then there's a part on the boat when they're fighting. Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland are fighting some goons, and it really is just flailing around, right? Like I remember the games, like you get into those little brawling segments and shit like that, and I thought that shit was fun. Uh, maybe wasn't done as well as it could have been for the earlier games, but I still enjoyed it. Here it has no candle. I mean, it doesn't hold a candle to any of the fight scenes in those games. It's crazy. This is trash, right? Like I don't know who this is for because it's not even a pale imitation. It's Uncharted in name only when it comes to adaptation. But even if you've never played the games, it's like just such a lame, bland movie. It's generic. It feels like a TV movie. Like it's just there's so much wrong with it. I was just watching. I was like, what the fuck? I'm not invested in any of this. I'm not invested in these characters. They're as bland as fucking possible. The banter between Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, even though I do think they have chemistry, it's like, oh, well, let me see your phone. Oh, you have so many apps open. Oh, Tinder, really? Come on, man, I own that. I own that. It's like the multiple double crosses that constantly happen over and over and over again that you think would make it more exciting to be like, oh man, this is how this world is. No, it's not at all, right? At a certain point, Tom Holland needs to like wake up and be like, yeah, this person cannot be trusted, and he does. But after multiple fucking times, and then there's a character that's like, oh, I'm only double crossing you because because I'm afraid you're gonna double cross me, even though you've saved my life and different things like that. You've saved my life multiple times, but I'm still gonna double cross you because I think you're gonna double cross me. Fuck off. It's so stupid. Anyway, it was lame. I was falling asleep at multiple times. And I don't know. It exists when it shouldn't, I guess. That's the best I can really say about it. So I'll give it utter trash because I don't want to give it my lowest rating because there's bits and pieces with Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland. I was like, you know what? That was all right. But for the most part, this just doesn't work. Yeah, utter trash. It's not good. It's unwatchable. It's damn near unwatchable. But that's it. Subscribe if you want, like, all that good stuff, and we're done.